HowExpert! Top 10 fan fiction writing tips. HowExpert publishes quick how-to guides on all topics from A to Z by everyday experts. Visit howexpert.com to learn more. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more HowExpert Top 10 videos in the future. Moving on, let's talk about the HowExpert Top 10 fan fiction writing tips. Number 10. Do your research. Coming in at number 10 is a good rule of thumb if you're going to write fan fiction. Always bring yourself up to date on whichever work you're adapting into your own. We all get a little excited starting a new project and may jump the gun. It happens to the best of us. But you owe it to yourself to write something good, even great. Suppose you've watched a series or read a book. You really liked it and you want to adapt it into your own work. Watch the series or read it again, maybe even again after that. It doesn't matter whether it was canceled 10 years ago or is an ongoing series or film franchise today. Educate yourself on the canon. There may be an extended universe of prequels and spin-offs which are equally important to access if you plan to write fan fiction as a companion piece to the canon. Doing so will earn your story a place in the fandom. Number 9. Read other fan fiction. Just like directors watch other films for inspiration, so do authors when they read the works of their contemporaries. As a fan fiction writer, you're part of a community where hundreds, even thousands of works are posted online every year. If you're having trouble finding a voice, style, or merely formatting and grammar, then you need only look at the nearest forum, which is only a click away. Instead of having to buy a book from your local bookstore or from online, you have the distinct advantage of only having to Google key terms, which will bring up tens of pages of entire troves of fan fiction to enlighten yourself with. Number 8. Rated G or for mature readers only. Content-wise, fan fiction is quite versatile. And when deciding what kind of audience your particular work is geared toward, you should be both mindful of who the original work was intended for, but also open-minded to a wider audience of readers who welcome a more mature spin on their favorite cartoon show or series of books. This can sometimes walk a very fine line between fluff and adult subject matter. The question you need to ask yourself is not whether you can, but should you? You need to decide whether to stick to a lighter tone or take a darker, far more mature take when adapting your fanfiction. Both can be challenging, but if you choose to write in the style of the latter, it might be more readable if it isn't completely tasteless. Does your tone and content fit the story, elevate the characters, or convince the readers that it has more purpose than to be shocking and provocative? Number 7. Hone your skills. As an up-and-coming writer, amateur, non-professional, enthusiast, or however you like to refer to yourself, one thing for sure is that you have a lot of room and opportunity to learn and improve. Even when writing comes naturally to you, don't get ahead of yourself. In case you may not have learned enough in school, or pursue writing as a second hobby or later career, it can be self-taught. There is no easy way to learn or get published quick scheme. It takes trial and error. Fan fiction can be good practice and a testing ground for your literary skills to grow. Style, spelling, and grammar can be improved with every new chapter you post on a forum. Becoming a better writer, where you not only are your own editor, but getting peer reviews from like-minded fans, is a beneficial alternative to more traditional ways to becoming an author. Number 6. You won't make money. Fan fiction by nature violates copyright. There are some authors out there who would even say it's illegal. But don't let such sentiment deter you, however. There is much gray area which puts nonprofit fanfiction under fair use policies which will protect most writers. Even if it were illegal, it would be absurd for the authors to sue their very own fans, and for the state or federal court to take up such a case. Besides, more and more authors are encouraging of fanfiction today. Just don't assume you can publish it, make it a New York Times bestseller, and expect to get away with it. Whatever book, movie, or television show your fanfiction is based on, nothing changes the fact that the original properties are owned by an author, group, or corporation. Any compensation you may make on your fanfiction belongs to them by law. And you may face steep fines or even jail time. Not only that, but you do yourself a disservice as an author in your own right if you don't give yourself the time and patience to publish an original work of your own. Number 5. What can you do to make money? If you consider yourself a true author who got your start from writing fanfiction, you might think you've long since removed yourself from it and cannot advance your career when such fruit comes from someone else's labor. While this might be true with respect to copyright laws, there are ways to take fanfiction into a different direction and publish what can ultimately be your own work. Well-known and successful authors such as E.L. James, Cassandra Clare, and Neil Gaiman got their start as fanfiction writers. One way to publish your fanfiction is to tweak the story by changing the characters and plot points, which may be too similar to whatever original work you based your story on. This may take a lot more time, but if you were able to write your fanfiction in the first place and are willing to make the necessary changes, then you may take the next big step in becoming an author of your own renown. Number 4. Limit your Mary Sue. Perhaps one of the biggest pratfalls in all fanfiction is the use of the dreaded Mary Sue. Every fanfiction writer has committed this often repeated sin, where an original character, often paired with already established figures, becomes a case of gratifying self-insertion. Such a character is often given far too much attention in the story, which isn't even supposed to be about them. Rather than be canon, they are a fanon foreigner, distracting from the plot, given one too many positive characteristics which make them seem seemingly perfect, and they are somehow equal to the established heroes. Sometimes, this Mary Sue may end up being the alternative love interest, hijacking and ultimately destroying in-story relationships for no real purpose at all, other than satisfying the author. That isn't to say an original character can't have an impact in fanfiction, when done right. In fact, they may be very well written and can contribute to an overall excellent story. Just don't let the character overtake the already established oeuvre. Number 3. Be prepared for constructive criticism. All criticism is good criticism, in theory. Writers are constantly improving themselves, sometimes obsessively so, and one way they can all get better is by taking criticism from critics and fans alike. Nothing is perfect, but everyone can be a critic. You won't find one book without a critical review that may come off as negative. Authors will also encounter disapproval over their content and style. It's a rite of passage which all writers must go through, even the average fanfiction writer. When publishing online, either at forums or on fanfiction-oriented websites, writers open themselves up to reviews which can be as insightful as they are helpful, or are absolutely malicious. Fans can be as welcoming as they are unforgiving. Some may like your story, others will hate it. Consider yourself lucky if they not only enjoy your work, but offer you advice on how to improve. On the other hand, you'll be lucky if you don't get comments deriding your work or calling you a hack author, which might be considered nice compared to some of the vitriol which may come your way. Your job as a fanfiction writer is to anticipate these kinds of reactions, taking the good with the bad, and finding help in each comment and review which will help you improve your capabilities. Number 2, have fun. You may very well take your work seriously. This may include setting up deadlines for yourself and going through drafts to ensure a definitive and complete work of fanfiction for your readers to enjoy. However, you need to not take yourself too seriously, or else you may lose the reason for wanting to write fanfiction in the first place. Remember, you're adapting a show, book, or movie which you yourself enjoyed. You are putting in time and effort, spare time which you'd otherwise devote to other things, for the fun of it. Nobody becomes a member of a forum or a fan site just so they can be no-nonsense and write fanfiction out of obligation. It's supposed to be fun. In fact, fans can see writers too full of themselves coming from a mile away. If you're lucky, they'll tell you to relax and enjoy yourself while working on your project. And they may be more than happy to read it when it's either finished or ongoing with a new chapter anticipated by the forum. Number 1. Finish the gosh darn story. Coming in at number 1 is a rule which applies to both professional authors and fanfiction writers alike. The ultimate sin and disservice to yourself as well as your readers who may follow you is to suddenly give up without giving anyone closure. It's practically a tragedy just how many works of fanfiction are left unfinished, sitting around and collecting dust on the internet archives. It's still a story, and stories are meant to be finished. Writers may do this all the time, but it's like leaving a piece of themselves lost and never to be found again. Finish what you started. If you liked our video, be sure to click like and subscribe for more HowExpert Top 10 videos for all topics from A to Z in the future. Also, let us know what other topics you want us to do a HowExpert Top 10 video in the future in the comments below. Thank you. Have an amazing day and take care. HowExpert publishes quick how-to guides on all topics from A to Z by everyday experts. Visit howexpert.com to learn more.